question about this inaccuracy in age and marital status of Hazrat Qasim and Ali Akbar. Is there any book with accurate historical facts on the family of Ahlul Bayt? For example, Ali Akbar al-Islam was 18 and not married, but I have heard that he was older and not only married but had a child. Well, there is inaccuracies in how people narrate these facts. In history, there's not so much inaccuracy. There are places where it's blank. We don't have much, so we can't make it up. If there's a speaker who makes up things, Hazrat Ali Akbar was married and he had children, well, you ask him, where did he get this from? Okay, generally, there's no such understanding among ulama that he was married and had children and all that. Regarding Hazrat Qasim, well, he was close to bulugh, he was not baligh. And there are some za'if riwayat regarding that issue of his aqd on the night of Ashura. Not Ashura, the day of Ashura and Asr, when Ashab had become shaheed, and when the story when he asked for permission and Imam al-Islam, well, because he did not allow him, then he went and opened the ta'weez and brought it, to say the shuhada. So, some riwayat that are generally, of course, we cannot say it didn't happen because none of us was there. If there is no consensus of Shia scholars, so that doesn't mean something didn't happen because we are not sure it ever happened or not. But when we say a riwayat is za'if, that means the sources are not very strong, and there's a missing link some places. And the missing link matters a lot in history. I mean, especially when you're attributing something. So the za'if riwayat relates to that point where they say that Qasim married the daughter of Imam Hussain AS. That is where there's a big question mark. So our ulama, some have narrated this event, of course there was no celebration, nothing, and it is not even accepted generally. Al-Mutahari generally very clearly says this is incorrect and all that. But then there are other ulama who say that we cannot say is incorrect and we cannot say is correct either. But it is narrated in history. But the problem is not the narration. The problem is what we in India and Pakistan, some people have made out of that story. That's the sad part. Because now some people take out Mehdi and all of that. I mean, come on. You're talking about Asr Ashur. You're talking about the time when Hazrat Qasim is left with probably Hazrat Abbas and Imam Hussain, probably 3 or 4 people, that's it. And now he's going to the battlefield. Is there anything to celebrate about it? Is there anything to talk about Mehdi and all of this? Okay, this Za'if Riwayat talks about something that's very touching, It says Hazrat Qasim al-Islam, he asked for permission, Imam al-Islam looked at him, started crying. So then he asked for permission, Imam cried again, he said, you are in memory of my brother. How can I allow you? So he goes back feeling very disappointed and thinking, and he remembers his father and all of that. He looks at the ta'weez, it has a letter written from his father to his son, saying that, on the day of Ashura, you will represent me, and it is your duty, so do not neglect this duty that you have. So he goes over there. Of course, this part is authentic and everybody agrees on it. Now this later part is not so authentic, which says that when he says that, which shows the writing to Imam Hussain al-Islam, Imam al-Islam recognizes the writing of his brother, right, and touches on his eyes and cries. Of course, this part is authentic. But the next part, which says, Imam says, okay, this is an amanat, this is from, but I have another amanat of wasiyat also. This was a wasiyat your father made to you. I have another wasiyat that your father made to me, which is, then he takes Qasim inside the camp and says, okay, this is my daughter, and with the meher of shahadat, I am marrying you to her. He gives his hand to her. And then he walks out for probably a minute or so, and the army is calling, Hal min Mubarak, come out and fight, no one else left. Hazrat Qasim starts to leave the camp. And she says, you are leaving me in this middle of all this? And he says, our marriage is delayed till the day of Qiyamah. This is Za'if. I'm talking about the Za'if riwayat of Karbala, which Generally, of course, I was not mentioned on the member because I consider the Zaif. But still I'm saying this is a riwayat that shows the spirit of Qasim alayhi salam. And what people have made out of it? Mehndi and Uptan, and some people now start beating drums, and this is so, distasteful. Yeah.
But Maulana, let's assume, otherwise is right. If Hazrat Ali Akbar was married, what does it make a difference?
Yes, it does not make a difference. It is what the thing is, the Sayyid al-Shuhada gives a message of freedom, of justice in the society. That there should not be any inequality, like discrimination. And people should not allow despotic rulers to change religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what authority should be hand of just people. That is the message of Imam Hussain. And to change this kind of oppressive system, you people have a duty to show strength and courage and all that. This is the key message of Imam Hussain, and which, alhamdulillah, a lot of our people are showing this in action, which the people of Kufa did not. They missed the chance. When Imam Hussain, they wrote the letter to Imam Hussain, but their problem was that they thought they have a duty towards Ibn Ziyad and Yazid, and they had no such political duty towards Imam Hussain, although they loved Imam Hussain, but they did not think Imam Hussain has such a wilayat over them, which Yazid and Ibn Ziyad already have upon them. That means their livelihood is not tied to Imam Hussain. Their livelihood, their money and their farms and their water and their Sahm Baitul Mal, their share from Baitul Mal is from the treasury. It's not coming from Imam Hussain. So they thought their loyalty lies with Yazid and Ali Abi Sufyan. That was the problem. And Quran says, because of the ayat al-Tathir, the loyalty of a human being, of a Muslim, belongs to the people who are tahir and pure. In their life, there is no mistake. Correct? And that's the thing which they were najis, awlad najis. And how can a person give allegiance to such people?
Okay, last question, very last, inshallah. We'll close it. Anybody? One? Anybody? Two? Salam.